For the incline dumbbell fly, set your weight bench anywhere between 30 and 45 degrees, whichever feels better on your shoulders, which is the joint that's closer to the pecs. Okay, so the shoulders, they need to feel good. If your shoulders feel off, they feel like you're taking them out of their normal range of motion, just simply based on the degree of incline of the bench, please shift the bench either up or down to essentially make that feel better. The next part is when you lower the weight, I want you to envision that you are opening up your rib cage. I want you to envision like you are driving your chest up, keeping your chest really, really tall. And at the same time, I want you to press your shoulders, in particular the back of the shoulders, into the bench as hard as you possibly can. This is going to cause stability within the shoulder joint, which is going to cause strength to happen within the pecs, which is what we're trying to focus on here. Another thing is I want you to think about your breathing. As you come down, I want you to inhale nice and slowly through your nose. And then as you drive the weights back up, I want you to exhale through your mouth. Now let's talk about the movement itself and how you get a better mind to muscle connection in the pecs. Aside from keeping your shoulders pressed into the bench, you're going to want to drive your elbows together. Do not think about driving your hands together, okay? Very important. So when you come down, you have this nice soft bend in your elbows as you can see throughout the video. And then as you drive the weights up, you're going to do that by driving your elbows together. And at the very top of the movement, you want to make sure that the dumbbells or the power bellows or the kettlebells, whatever it is you're using, are slightly outside of your shoulder joints the entire time. Because anytime you stack your joint on top of joint, meaning your wrist on top of your shoulder, or you come inside of that, meaning your wrists are inside of the shoulders, you lose tension entirely. The greatest amount of tension is outside of the shoulder. So at the very top of the movement, as you're driving your elbows together, you want to keep your hands or the dumbbells outside of the shoulder joint. And that's going to really, really help you. The last thing is going to be the arch in your spine. Now, this arch or the arch in your spine, this is really important to understand. Now, the degree of the arch in your spine is going to be based on feeling. Okay, for me, I like to have a nice big arch in my spine because it helps me keep my shoulders pressed into the bench. For others, you may want to have less of an arch or not an arch at all. And if that's the case, if you don't want to have an arch at all in your spine, all you have to do is drive your low back into the bench by flexing your abdominals, and that will allow for you to do that. I go back and forth. Sometimes I have my low back pressed into the bench, and then other times I have a really big arc in my spine. Now, what I find when my low back is pressed into the bench, and this is only for me, I find that I have somewhat of a different stretch in my pecs, and sometimes, depending upon how I feel, I might like that stretch better. At the same token, when I have an arch in my spine, I feel something different as well. So depending on the day and depending how I feel, I'm either going to have an arch in my spine or I'm not.